So Shankar, this was meant to be an interlude amidst all the heavy market discussion that we've had, which, by the way, was brilliant, the panel before us. You know, while driving here, I was just going through your Twitter account. And if I had to caricaturize Shankar Sharma, it would be very similar to Amitabh Bachchan, angry young man. Shankar Sharma's each tweet is very angry, be it about the markets, be it about the whole controversy around Imran Khan and Sidhu going to Pakistan for the inauguration or for his swearing in, or for that matter, you know, the whole RBI government spat, whatever it is. It's a compliment, Amitabh Bachchan. All of us are big fan of his. But why the anger?
There's no anger. I mean, I'm very happy Sidhu went to Pakistan.
Okay, then. No, besides Sidhu. What's the unease about? I mean, you get a sense that you're a little uneasy.
Oh, I'm not uneasy. I mean, in the markets, you're always uneasy. So if times are very good, you're uneasy. If times are bad, obviously, you're very, very uneasy. So, you know, I always say this, and I think I tweeted this also, that, you know, the feeling you're always permanently left within markets is one of regret. So I've always said that, you know, fear and greed is, you know, they are easy things to manage. After having done it for 30 years, I can manage the fear, I can manage the greed. It's just the regret of, you know, not selling enough at the top and not buying enough at the bottom. So, you know, that, if you can control that, which is a challenge, you know, you may or may not become very rich, but at least you'll be a very grounded, a very happy investor. Because what kills you is the regret.
So are you happy as an investor? Are you regretting something right now?
I'm very happy because I've stopped regretting.
Acha. Not because you sold right and bought right.
Look, I mean, ultimately I do believe, and I have again said this many times, that investing is all about luck. I think 90% of it is luck. 10% is skill. I mean, I heard somebody say, you know, so one gentleman say that your strike rate is 1 out of 20. Where is the skill if you're getting 1 out of 20 right? I mean, there is no skill. Venture capitalists say we get 3 out of 10 right and we are, you know, gods. And I say that's less than a toss of coin. That's utter rubbish. 3 out of 10 and you're calling yourself a fund manager, I mean, I think it's
So what's been your run rate in the last 1 year?
If I do not get 60% of what I think right, then I have no business calling myself a pro or an expert. Then I'm, you know, going along with the wave. I'll ride the wave well, and I will get crashed out at the end of the wave. So the skill element has to be definitely more than 60%. If you don't have that, then you're pretending to be a fund manager or a professional manager. Now, many people don't get to those levels, and yet you can get rich. That's the interesting thing about stock markets. All you need to get is to, you know, get a couple of stocks right in your life, which went up 100 times. And that will cover every single sin that you committed. We know many people like that in the world, right? So my perspective on investing is largely luck. Okay? And when something is involving so much luck, you know, why get too fussed about a bad period and a good period? They will come and go. It's fine.
But with luck also comes a lot of hard work, right? It's not as simple, and especially the market right now.
That's contained in the 10%.
Okay. So how is it that you go about the 10%?
Look, okay. So I'll give you an example.
Besides all the luck.
I'll give you an example. Okay, so back in 2001, you know, we picked Amazon as a stock. Okay, and it was a no-brainer. It was screaming buy, and Wall Street, being the dumb asses that they are, they were all bearish in the stock, and that's when I like to, you know, sort of get involved in a company. And the company had started generating $150 million in free cash in the quarter when Mary Meeker said the company is going to go bust because she hadn't read the 10 Qs. Now, we recommended a buy. I bought stock. Did anybody, including Jeff Bezos, know the stock is going to be up, whatever, 200 times from there?
Maybe more.
No, maybe more. You know, Apple, you know, up 700 times. Nobody knew. Steve Jobs wouldn't have known. Tim Cook didn't know. I mean, these things, you can, I always say this, to make 100% in the stock market is about skill. But to make 1,000% is only about luck.
So where has Shankar Sharma been that lucky? Where have you made your 1,000% return?
Well, there are many stocks. 1,000% can, over a 10-year period, I mean, HDFC Bank in the last 20 years is up 27 or 30 times.
Don't give me the obvious names. We know you can do better than that, and your luck has been favoring you
No,
besides HDFC
I
Bank?
always buy trash companies anyway. I mean, HDFC Bank was an outlier. So I like to buy companies like IndusInd Bank when nobody was interested in IndusInd Bank. That's up, I think, 30, 40 times in the last 10 years. But at the time, it was a Hinduja company, and management was not good, blah, 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 blah. But trading at book value when all private sector banks were trading at four times book. So that's what I say, that you stick around long enough, you'll get lucky. The idea is not to flame out, not to go bust. If you don't go bust, you'll get rich.
So let's get to know Shankar Sharma beyond markets and his stocks. Let's backtrack the journey. How does the 16-year-old boy from Dhanbad reach stock markets, reach Bombay with the dream of making money?
I wanted to get rich, yeah, and
That's it.
very, very simple.
Honey from Dhanbad?
Yeah, Dhanbad, the name is Dhan. Dhan means wealth in Hindi. So, yeah, I mean, my father died when I was, I think, 16 or 17. And, we didn't have a lot of wealth. One of the tenants in our home, and that was the only source of income. And, I had a life ahead of me, which was largely education. And I said that, look, in this period, I still need to make some money. And this gentleman, he was a police officer, but obviously he was very interested in the stock market. And one day I saw him filling out IPO forms. And I asked him, Uncle, what is this? And he said, look, this is something called a public issue. It was not called IPOs then, it was called public issue. I said, what is a public issue? He said, this is you buy a share in a company, blah, 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 blah. I said, all right. So he said, I'll tell you what, you borrow 2,000 rupees from your mom and come with me to Calcutta. Because Calcutta was the place you could submit these forms. There were no banks in Dhanbad which would accept IPO forms. So we took a 4-hour train journey, went and applied for shares.
Which company was this?
Share called Asian Hotels, which was the Hyatt Regency in New Delhi. And, it turned out to be like a 20-bagger here. So I suddenly was a very rich 18-year-old, by 18-year-old standards. And then that was my calling. I said, okay, so this looks interesting. This is the way I can overcome the feeling of insecurity that you get when you're the sole breadwinner of your family dies. So in a lot of ways, it's to chase wealth, it's to overcome insecurity.
So it was not for the love of stock markets, but to get rich.
There were many ways to get rich. I thought this was a good, legitimate way.
Were there any other ways you contemplated?
In Dhanbad, with the mafia town being what it is, there are many ways to get rich, I can tell you.
Yeah. Okay. So then where did the journey take you from there? You knew that this is a great instrument, great means to make money, legit money, quote unquote.
Yeah.
From there, where?
No, when I came back to India after my MBA and I joined Citi, and I remember I was sitting one night, with my close friend Naganath, who was the CIO of DSP BlackRock, and we had joined Citi at the same time. So, and we used to live in Bandra, very close to each other. And I called him and said, come on over, we'll sit and have a chat about our future, because the bank wasn't looking very good. It was going through this usual perennial Citibank crisis of going bust because of Latin American debt then. So I said, boss, this is not going to work out. So I think we should jump into the stock market. And Naganath, being a South Indian conservative, I said, yeah, I know, but I would prefer to do it in a job. I said, that's rubbish. We have to go into the Bombay Stock Exchange ring and start trading. So, and our call was that 10 years from now, this was 1989, 10 years by the end of, that decade, the coming decade, India would become a significant market. Now, just as all these people are talking about the India of the next 10 years, back then it was pretty much a big, broad macro call that equity markets were underdeveloped, there would be need for professionalization, and let's go in there. And I was 26. And then I just, quit my job in Citibank, never told my mom, because if I told her, she would have said, tumse shaadi kaun karega? Right, so, I didn't tell her for a year and a half. Because she was sitting in Dhanbad, there were no mobile phones. I never used to write her a letter, as to say all is good. And that was it. I just broke the news when I sent her a plane ticket to fly to Bombay. And she said, how can you afford a plane ticket? Because she knew my salary was just 2,000 rupees in Citibank. So, and then Bombay Stock Exchange ring floor trading was brilliant. I mean, I think it was just an amazing experience. And then Manmohan Singh opened up the economy in 91. And as I said, luck, right? So I didn't know that this was going to happen. But then FIIs, came in droves, and we were right there, being the, gates through which the monies flowed in. And that's it. So in a lot of ways, the whole India story worked out very, very well for somebody like me.
But what was the point? I mean, you came to the stock markets chasing money, not stocks. What was the time when you got that feeling that this is it? This is what I wanted to, and yes, it makes me rich, but that's only a byproduct of the job.
That feeling I started to get in the mid-90s because, you realize it's such a vast ocean of learning and one knew nothing. It was just so many moving parts of what causes the bull market or what causes the bear market. Then you were humbled by your lack of knowledge. But at the same time, you were challenged by it. You were inspired by it. I mean, in my home, I think I have 2,000 books on investing and trading. All of which between me and my wife Devina have read. So we divided it up that you read this, I read this, and at night we'll sit and compare notes. Yeah, exactly, because nobody can read all of it. But that knowledge, just became the bedrock of money. So in the stock market, at least, you can make a lot of money. A lot of your earnings will come from your learning. So at least in my life, that 10% part, okay, your hard work part, has really come from just reading, reading, and reading. And which is what I do even now.
But the market gives you a lot and it takes a lot also from you. So I'm sure
Market will
in your
give you.
journey, you've had your highs and you've had your lows, as would be the case in any market.
Of course.
What were the low points when you thought, you know what, leave it. There are illegitimate ways also of making money. Let me just wrap it all up and just get out of it.
I thought like that last 2 months also.
Acha.
Everybody will feel like that. If you're playing cricket, you're having a bad series, you'll feel like, the crowd is booing me. Everybody's on Twitter saying you got your call on oil wrong because it went from 30 to 70, came to 50. And you say, what the shit is this? Let me get out. Look, you will go through this. The only advantage somebody like me who's 55 will have is that I have been there, done that, listened to criticism. The buy side won't give you appointments when you get things wrong. And God help you if you're managing PMS type money, then the guys will land up at home demanding their money back. So, stuff like that can really make you feel like quitting, of course. I'm sure.
Was there any one specific instance where you thought ki life in Dhanbad is better? I've made my pool of money and I can live off happily with the interest the bank would.
Oh, even now, if somebody gave me an option to go and play club cricket in Dhanbad, I'd do that. That's something that, so close to my heart. But yeah, I think in the late 90s when the Infosys sort of boom started, and at 60 times earnings, I thought Infosys was very expensive and I shorted it. And I was taken to the cleaners because it was trading soon at 300 times earnings. And I was down, and back then Indian stocks, it was a new sort of plane of P ratios. We were trading 15 times, 18 times, 20 times, thereabouts, but 60 had never been seen before. And I was basically bust in every sense of the word. It was very, very, very tough. It was extremely tough, and that's the point. But then you know that if you quit, there is no chance of getting back into the game. And it took a lot of resolve to sort of gather your wits, because at that time you do want to play desperate shots, okay? Because the runs are not coming. But I think God was kind. That's all I can say. I don't think it took a lot of skill, because I went and bought HFCL at 60. It became 2,500 in a matter of a year's time. So I made it without touching Infosys or Wipro. I still made a lot of money in the tech boom. That's the other thing about stock markets. You can reach heaven in many ways. There's no just one path to heaven, and you can also reach hell in many ways.
Take your time. Is all I want to say, heaven or hell. But with these hell stories were also some great stories. And you've been always known as that one contrarian investor. At a time when, I remember when the JLR deal happened, Tata Motors is the company that I'm talking about, everyone was just thrashing the stock out. But you were that one contra guy who said, I'm going to go out and buy Tata Motors.
I just didn't become contrarian for the sake of it. I was in London. And I was living in the Mayfair area, and I was going for my evening walk or run, whatever it is. And I came across I think JLR showrooms in one of these lanes or wherever it was, and I saw the cars and the new models, and I said that, I've never liked, Land Rover. I thought it's a dumb, boxy, old-fashioned car being packaged as a very hip product. But I like the Jaguar cars, and And then I called my analyst and I said that, look, what is JLR's global market share in luxury cars? And he came up with some number, maybe 1% or something. I said, boss, with these cars, I think they can get to 2%. So do the math and tell me what kind of numbers can they deliver. And then he calls me back and he tells me that, boss, I think they're going to make $500 million of profit. I said, I'll kill you if you get this wrong, okay? Because they were making $1 billion in losses, right? He said, boss, look, okay, so you come down to India, okay, and you check the spreadsheet. So I came down and checked that, it adds up. So my call was, it's going to make $1 billion in profit. Then it was making $1 billion in losses. And it actually, I think, made more than that. In 2 years' time, it was making, I think, $2 billion in profit. So, I mean, that was satisfying because, you know, and it was a simple trade. It really was very, very simple. So sometimes the greatest trades are very simple trades. It's not a lot of science that goes behind this.
But you've always been that top-down guy, right? You hunt for these scavenger stories.
Well,
Not Tata Motors,
yeah.
but many others.
Yeah, it's a more time-efficient way of doing things. So if you get the sector right, then irrespective of what you bought in that, more or less, you will be making pretty decent returns. So, you know, it's just as simply the return on time when you do top-down is very, very efficient. But now I do a lot of small cap, which is very, very time inefficient, extremely time inefficient. Because to figure out one company, you know, takes me several months. And, you know, if you want to do 10 companies, you know, get to know the promoter, the model, et cetera, et cetera. So, again, I find that now I'm a little better at doing small cap investing than earlier because, again, it's a benefit of experience. But earlier, top-down, and top-down also simplifies a lot of things. It cuts out a lot of the individual stock level noise. So, I think, again, like I said, several paths to heaven. Depends on the phase of life that you are in. Like now I don't trade at all, okay? I mean, 15 years back, I would only trade. I didn't even have a demat account, okay? So that was my philosophy, that buy and hold doesn't work. Now I'm older, I think it works brilliantly. I think investing is also a journey in your own personal life, the way you will evolve as an individual. And I always also believe that do not follow a style which is inconsistent with your own personality. So I could never be a trend following, you know, buying the good companies kind of guy. That's not my style. That's not my thinking. That's not the way I've lived my life. If I start doing that, I may as well quit.
But in 2008, you did, right? You did follow the herd, and that was one of your biggest regrets. Why don't you tell all present here about that?
No, I mean, I got the bear market right. Actually, I always get bear markets right. I may or may not get bull markets right. So, I mean, that's...
Are we in a bear market?
That's...
Are we bound to see one in the next 6 months?
God has blessed me with only one skill, which is to get a bear
You're
market.
not answering my question.
No, I will skip it. So, you know, 2008 I got right. Where I got really, and that was the worst mistake of my life, was in 2009, January, February, March. Everything that I look at in terms of indicators was flashing green, that it's a buy. And then you know, I will not name the gentleman, but you know, obviously a well-known stock market veteran called me. Shankar, what are you doing? I said, nothing. He said, come, we are having a party at Jewel of India. I said, all right. So we went there, and all our stock market brethren were there. And somebody asked me, what do you think? I said, look, I think the market is the buy, or getting to becoming a buy. And they pounced on me. They said, what nonsense. You know, oil is going to be like $5 and index, you know, whatever it was, 8,000 Sensex or 10,000 Sensex is going to be 3,000. And the logic was compelling. And these are guys, I mean, these are not lightweight. These are guys I've known for 20 years. I've respected their opinion, listened to them. We have batted around ideas. And when a whole room full of guys is pouncing on you, telling you that, you know, you're wrong, you know, it just corrupted my mind. And instead of buying, I went and sold more, and I got cleaned out. So, you know, and I broke my central tenet that do not ever listen to other people. I just don't listen to anybody's opinion except whatever my systems and my methods tell me. And I just broke that rule, and I live to regret it.
But you have made your money eventually.
No, but that's okay. I mean, we will make money. I mean, again, everything is temporary.
Did you tell them, by the way, since I know who you're talking about and whose party it was?
Look, I mean, we are all mature adults. It's not a blame game that, you know, you misled me or something. I mean, we're not like retail investors who will say, "Sir, आपने तो ऐसा बोला था, मैंने किया, and देखो आपने ये कर दिया."
I'm sure you get a lot of those, right?
yeah, at the
You
airport.
get badly trolled on Twitter
Yeah,
for
yeah,
your
yeah.
views?
At airports or wherever you are. I mean, you'll get it. It's okay. But no, but this gentleman lost a lot of money too. So it's okay. We both drunk together and,
Well, that's okay. He has
reminisced
one of
about
the
the bad
highest
times.
PE multiple stocks trading currently. So he's the promoter. But anyway. What about other influencers in life? Since you've always said that you've had a mind of your own, you've never heard anyone. Anyone that you look up to when it comes to equities, stock markets?
No, stock market, I have no heroes. I mean, I've learned a lot, obviously. Everybody in this room, elsewhere, we have learned from the greats like Warren Buffett, George Soros and all that. But I don't admire them, and I don't think that they're extraordinarily gifted or blessed. Because I believe, it's largely luck that makes your money in stock markets. So where I believe skill counts is, for example, in sports. Okay, so
You were almost going to become a cricketer, right?
yeah,
Almost?
cricket, I mean, I've played cricket, nearly at the first class level. But like I said, my father died, and back then cricket used to pay you only some 10,000 rupees per test match. So even if you're lucky enough to play for India, 10,000 rupees minus the cost of laundry, maybe netted you 3,000 rupees in a.
There was no IPL back then.
Yeah, there was no IPL.
Otherwise-
There were not even much one-day cricket. So I had to make a career shift. Fortunately, it worked out. But so I've always believed that the skill element in life is really about fine arts. So if you're a great singer, I think that's skill. Or if you are a great sports person. So I mean, for me, my heroes are only Muhammad Ali and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Imran Khan. I mean, I just think they're extraordinarily.
Imran Khan, the cricketer, or Imran Khan, the now Prime Minister
No,
politician?
here is why I like these three gentlemen, because they've all had big careers in terms of second acts and third acts. See, everybody can have a big one act, but Ali, had a big problem with the U.S. government, came back again, regained. Arnold Schwarzenegger, world number one, bodybuilder. Then a great movie star, and then the governor of California. Three big acts, and Imran Khan, his act just continues. I mean, just absolutely brilliant. I know I'll get trolled on Twitter, but what the hell, yaar?
That's okay.
Yeah.
So where is your next act? Up until now, it's only been markets. What's next for you?
Oh, there are many acts going on. We don't have to talk about it. Yeah.
Oh, come on.
No.
That's a little flavor, little peek into what are the other acts.
Cannot. It's premature. But yeah, I mean, obviously we're not going to just sit around and go into the sunset. So, and I always say this, and Devina always tells me that, at what point do you call it quits? And I said that, look, that's not me. For me, there's nothing called retirement. I'm happy. I mean, I still work 80 hours a week, maybe 100 hours a week. I mean, continue. I have just no time to breathe. It's really, I'm that busy on a variety of things, and I just love it.
You still not reach your penultimate goal of the bank balance, considering that's why you came to the markets.
Last 2 months has made a big dent, so I have to make that up, and then we will see. Yeah.
How big has the dent been? The markets have recovered quite a bit.
Look, since I don't trade, so I don't short. If I had shorted, the market was looking a screaming short in July. I remember at my home, we had a few friends, and I said that, look, this market is toast by November. It was toast by September. I got it wrong by 2 months, but it was just a no-brainer. Just a handful of stocks were running up. The small caps had obviously crapped out after the budget. Very narrow bull market. So it was, but since I don't do that anymore, I couldn't participate, and I couldn't profit from it. So therefore, the hit, we'll all take hits on our portfolio for sure. But we'll get it back. It's okay. I'm optimistic.
But your conviction for small caps remains, irrespective of how badly you got burnt.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not prepared to lose 30-40% in this game, then you ought not to be in this game. I mean, that's a fact. But, look, small caps went up like 20x. From there, they have fallen to 12x returns. Why should I be crying? It's still okay.
You almost did. You mentioned it twice without me prompting.
I'm saying that, look, I mean, we made a lot of money. We've given a bit of the top. It's okay.
So the conviction remains in small caps.
100%.
Any large caps that attract you? Because even in large caps, it's been such a diverse market, right? There's this whole jugglery which is happening, sector rotation which is playing out. One day, one stock is leading the sector up. For the last, 1 month, it's been ICICI Bank, which you wouldn't even touch 3 months back. Anything which is looking interesting in large caps? Are you willing to spread yourself around outside the small caps? which you've been a big fan of?
No, I don't buy large caps because I don't find any intellectual stimulation in them. But if I were to buy, I think stock like Maruti looks reasonable, because irrespective of the problems around auto sales, I mean, India is still a hugely under-penetrated auto market. I mean, I don't know what the data is, but maybe it's about 3 crore cars for 110 crore, 20 crore population. Two-wheelers might be 10, 12 crore two-wheelers in terms of population. I mean, it still is a long, long way to go. You will have hiccups in the middle. But, I mean, who can say that in India, cars won't reach 10% of population 10 years out? I mean, so it has to happen. And the stock has corrected 30%. And, one thing I've noticed that in a bad bear market, one thing I have seen in terms of data, in a bad bear market, good stocks without leverage typically fall maximum between 30 and 40%. So Maruti, I think from the top is down 30% or so. I think it fits the bill.
And you're still liking the chemical companies within small caps?
Yeah, because that's been just a secular shift because of the China factor. There's so many stocks. I mean, somebody told me just last week, and I missed that stock. It was a 50 crore market cap company. Now it's like, 1,000 crores in a matter of 1 year. Just because the chemical that particular company was making in China got banned, and product prices went up 7-8 times. I like the entire space for sure.
Okay, I think we're getting a cue to wind up. Are we? Oh, audience questions. Okay, that is what it was all about. Yeah, you can raise your hands. No stocks, only sector and market view, if that's what you want to know about. The gentleman in the second row. Yeah.
Hi, what is your view on mid-cap stocks as of now from a valuation perspective, on overall index basis?
From a valuation
Evaluate.
perspective.
So I was telling Aisha the other day that valuation is the only thing I don't look at when I'm investing as on a broad basis, because you can justify any valuation. So valuation works when you're looking at very extreme, like something is 5 times, or market is 5 times earnings, or it is whatever 40 times earnings. But there's nothing to say that 15 times earnings is cheap and 18 or 20 times is expensive or 22 is expensive. So I don't even know what valuations they're trading at. But I do know for a fact a lot of small caps at least are abysmally cheap now. I know so many stocks which are trading with dividend yields of 2.5%, 3% now. They're half of book value without debt. I know the order books. They will deliver very good numbers this year. So that space is extremely undervalued without any doubt.
So any liquidity risk on small caps, do you feel if the global turmoil come in 2019 or sooner?
The small caps are like VC investing. You can only enter, you can't exit.
So,
or to give you the mafia example, you can only enter the mafia, you can never leave it. Right, so you can exit all it. Rather, I was talking to a very dear FIF friend of mine. We've been friends for 25 years. And he was cursing India. As all FIS curse India, periodically. It's a brilliant market. It's a great love-hate market. Okay, and I told him that, do you remember 20 years back I told you that your whole investment, the whole FII investment philosophy is flawed because you're coming to a poor country hoping to get rich. I don't get this whole thing, boss. यार तुम गरीब को लूट के तुम कैसे rich बन सकते हो? Right? You can get rich by getting money off a richer guy, right? And he said, Shankar, I remember that. And I agree. You're so right, boss. Here, either currency will get you or this liquidity will get you, but there's no damn exit, particularly in the small cap space. So you just feel happy looking at your NAV on paper. You won't get much of it back.
Okay, got the perspective. Thank you.
One more question, yes.
Yeah, Shankar, you said that you get bear markets right, typically. So now, if the election verdict in May is really not to the market's liking, how low could we go in terms of?
What do you mean by not to the market's liking? Now that's a very vast question.
I think what one sense is currently.
This market is a stupid market. In 2004, it gave you 10% down when the Congress came to power. In 2009, it gave you 20% up when the same government came to power. So let's not try and think this market is an extremely smart, organism. It has plenty of sort of brain fade moments. So I don't even know what the market wants. I really have no idea.
What, according to you, would be the right outcome? Good for the country? Election outcome?
We had agreed we are not going to discuss politics.
Okay, fine. Yes.
Hi,
Gentlemen.
Shankar. First disclaimer, I am not trolling you. Okay? So that is my first disclaimer.
You're not?
Trolling you. I'm not trolling you.
Okay, okay. No.
Okay. So invariably what happens is during market downfalls, no, these media channels try to get you on the worst day when the market is falling. I mean, Aisha, you can check for yourself and the other channels also. Invariably,
They are important days, highs and lows, and we want important people.
invariably, Shankar is on the day when the market is at its depth. I mean, it seems like market is going to close down tomorrow.
That's their fault. That's not my fault.
And then Shankar,
Whose side are you on?
and then he will tell you that markets are going to fall further, and the joke.
When did I tell you that last?
So when the markets were down, as you said, you got this last 2 months wrong, right?
We didn't get him in the last 2 months.
So he must have been on another channel then.
I said I got it wrong. Yeah.
Must have been on another channel.
Exactly.
So the joke going around in investing circles is that, when Shankar Sharma is on air on a bad day, that is the day when markets will turn. So start buying. So
No, that's okay. But because I don't get to determine when the channel is going to call me, right? If they call me, it's their fault. It's not my fault.
my simple observation was somehow they managed to get you on that worst day.
He's saying you're a contraindicator, basically.
That's good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. That's all. Okay, one last question, and that's it. We wind up then.
Hi, Shankar. I'm Bipin Matrawala. We are reinsurance brokers. And I attended your session, somewhere in New Bombay about 25 years ago.
Wow, okay.
I like your way of doing it. It's like you're more, I feel, intuitive investor, sort of. But one question I want to ask you is, to what extent is moral hazard in our investing industry, I mean, equity market?
Moral hazard.
I don't get the connection really in terms of moral hazard and the equity market. Can you just elaborate on that a bit?
I mean, for instance, in insurance company, when we have underwriters, so every underwriter is supposed to buy a professional indemnity cover. So whatever he underwrites, I mean, the moment, he puts a pen on your insurance of your factory, he is bound by those clauses, whatever it is. What happens actually when all, CIOs of various mutual funds or other industry, so there is, what I say, to what extent is a moral hazard that, which is not honest like?
How accountable are they for the investments that they're making for other people?
I mean, I know known most of the CIOs personally for good 25, 28 years. I have a lot of respect for them. I think to start thinking that they are gods and they can walk on water, I mean, it's being, unfair. Most of them are very, very ethical. And the unethical ones get found out very quickly in this game. It's an easy game to find out, who's doing it right and who's really cutting corners here. I think by and large the industry is in very good hands. But to expect them to, do wonders in markets as the kind we have seen, is not being fair at all.
Thank you.
Okay, on that note, how does Shankar Sharma unwind after 2 months of misery in small caps getting battered? When you go back home, your thoughts, do you listen to music, watch TV, go to the gym? How do you unwind?
I drink wine.
Red or white?
White, and I smoke a cigar, and I hang out with people who have nothing to do with the stock market.
That's a great way to be unwinding. So, since you are a Ghaleb as well as Rafi fan, either a song or one shade.
Share is better because, as I have always believed, and somehow this Rafi Nazm keeps coming back to me when I lose money. Because, we enter the stock market with obviously some fear always that, we're going to lose money. And there is this Nazm, a very old Nazm by Rafi, that goes with just 2 lines. That kitni rahat hai dil toot jaane ke baad, zindagi se mile maut aane ke baad. कहने का मतलब ये हुआ कि लगता है मौत आएगी. Sometimes when death comes, it is a big relief. So you
चलो आ गई.
chalo aa gaye, it's done. We had to lose money, we freaking lost money, okay? So sometimes it's a very relaxing thing to lose money also, because you are so wound that when is this damn bull market going to end, right? And it ends, and somehow it's not that.
Climax.
Yeah, exactly.
You know how bad it can get.
Exactly.
Okay. I hope you are not going to be singing this nazm or repeating it to yourself in the next
Comes
6
to me
months.
2 months before the top of a market, always.
When was the last time you memorized?
July, August.
Okay, good. We're in a safe place then. Great speaking with you, Shankar. Thank you, as always. Pleasure.